I mean, how can you be convinced by somebody that is a serial liar?
A gentleman named Donald J. Trump. Have you heard of him?
Trump's defenders in the hush money trial are few, but what they lack in number, they make up for in stupid.
That's end of story.
This is Tommy Tuberville, a former college football coach who has quite apparently taken a few shots to the head himself.
I want to reiterate the same thing. First of all, I'm disappointed in the courtroom. I'm hearing Mr. Trump, Mr. Trump. He is former President Trump. Give him some respect. I mean, that's what that place is in there. It's no respect. Here's what I'm seeing, too. It is depressing. That courtroom is depressing. This is New York City, the icon of our country, and we got a courtroom that's the most depressing thing I've ever been in.
If that's not an argument for staying away from drugs, I don't know what is. You notice he didn't mention anything, though, about the substance of the trial or the evidence or the fact that Trump faces 60 more indictments. He just wants us to call him Mr. President.
I mean, that's what that place is in there. It's no respect.
All right, so I have an idea. Here you go, Tommy. Mr. President and inmate 4569-2024, hike. How's that, Tommy?
Judge inside, his daughter is making millions of dollars running against Donald Trump, raising money for Donald Trump's political opponents. The number 3 person in the Department of Justice, Biden's Department of Justice, left to become a local prosecutor to go after Donald Trump. And of course, there's Alvin Bragg, a Soros-funded prosecutor who promised to go after Donald Trump and now is doing exactly that. Now, look.
That's J.D. Vance, who once compared Trump to Hitler. Doing a slightly less loopy defense of Trump than Tuberville, but like Tuberville, not addressing the charges. Why? Because the prosecution has Trump cold. And while Trump claims he's been indicted more than Capone...
Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor. Do you know I've been indicted more than Al Capone? Did you ever hear Al Capone? Probably the greatest mobster of them all.
It's fair to point out that while Capone killed dozens of human beings, it was income tax evasion that sent him to prison, where he died of syphilis. So I'm just saying.
How many times did Mr. Trump ask you to threaten an individual or entity on his behalf?
Quite a few times.
50 times?
More.
100 times?
More.
200 times?
More.
Michael Cohen is actually the best and the worst witness in the case against Donald Trump. Let me explain. He's the best for the prosecution in that no one knows Trump's Machiavellian habits like Cohen. He went to federal prison because of what he did for Tiny Fingers. And he's the worst witness for the defense, for the reasons I just stated.
Just a few seconds ago, the people called their witness, Michael Dean Cohen, to the stand. He is a key prosecution witness, obviously, having worked for Donald Trump for so long, and then obviously turned against him sometime before his congressional testimony in 2019. Michael Cohen has been called to the stand, and we will be bringing you all of that.
Since the trial isn't televised, and wow, that would be something, right? Watching Trump snoring and farting like the mentally ill mope that he is. It most definitely would have made for must-see TV. But alas, we're forced to listen to those who are inside and get their take.
What have you made of what Michael Cohen has said this far? Does it ring credible to you?
It rings credible, but I think, Laura, the larger point, and you know this as an attorney, is that when the prosecution rests, they will very quickly, the judge will hear motions, counsel will engage on that, and of course the defense will move for a judgment of acquittal, which they can do. And I read a pundit this morning, Jonathan Turley, speculating that the judge ought to direct a verdict. That went out the window this morning. There's plenty of evidence by which the jury could convict, which, as you know, is the standard on that. So he's been good enough, based on everything that I've seen, to carry the prosecution's case.
The judge you just heard is right. The prosecution is backing up everything Cohen testified to with documentary evidence like phone records, emails, and texts. And this is important. Cohen then explained why records showing him calling Trump's bodyguard's phone so often is because that's the phone Trump used. Further evidence, he was hiding something. And while Cohen tears into Trump, the Republican Party does what they've done since the grab him by the pussy tape. They ignore the truth. Then it was locker room talk. Today, it's a witch hunt.
This is the single greatest witch hunt.
The president calls it all, quote, a witch hunt.
Reads and smells like a witch hunt.
The entire thing has been a witch hunt, and I am witch. I am the witch.
I'll get you, you leakers.
And Fox News is supporting Trump as they desperately try to hold on to Trump's collection of farm animals.
To weaponize DOJ, FBI, CIA against President Trump with zero evidence, zero convictions, because they're even manufacturing crimes against. They're manufacturing. They're trying to make up evidence.
Fox News is doing everything they can to paint a pretty picture of where this is headed.
The fact that Cohen is taking yet another oath itself was quite an attraction. And obviously, he's going to get Cuisinarted on cross-examination.
But there's 2 points here. It's not just Cohen's testimony against a man who has over 30,000 documented lies in the last 7 years, but Michael Cohen's past doesn't diminish his testimony because it's corroborated with a paper trail, a solid collection of paper and electronic communications that will stand up. So, yes, the defense will attack him, but at the end of the day, remember, Al Capone was convicted by his accountant's testimony.
I am ashamed of my weakness and my misplaced loyalty, of the things I did for Mr. Trump in an effort to protect and promote him. I am ashamed that I chose to take part in concealing Mr. Trump's illicit acts rather than listening to my own conscience. I am ashamed because I know what Mr. Trump is. He is a racist, he is a con man, and he is a cheat.
Trump's defenders, whether it's thumbface Hannity or the legal hack Jonathan Hurley, all rest on this idea that Trump isn't getting a fair deal, which of course is insane. Any other defendant would be in jail right now for a dozen reasons. For violation of a gag order, to orchestrating a coup against the government of the United States. But the worst part of Trump's media defense is they know the facts and they choose instead to lie to their audience again. And their audiences rely on them for the truth, a truth they will never receive.
I can't imagine that any competent lawyer at this point would not be embarrassed by what has happened in this courtroom. This is an utter disgrace.
Now, this mope is ignoring that juries hear from witnesses every day who are convicted felons and have to ask themselves this: why would Cohen lie? He's already done time for this very crime. I know Cohen. He's not going back to prison for Trump. And the idea that Cohen's mocking Trump makes him unsuitable as a witness? Are you insane? Have you listened to this defendant lately?
Executing the baby after birth. Execute the baby. Execute the baby.
Yes, Michael Cohen's testimony will be attacked. That's what defense attorneys do. And Cohen did break the law, but he also went to jail.
Yet last fall, I pled guilty in federal court to felonies for the benefit of, at the direction of, and in coordination with individual number one. And for the record, individual number one is President Donald J. Trump.
One can only hope our justice system embraces this moment, because what's happening in this courtroom is the same thing the Supreme Court is mulling right now. Is there justice for everyone, or do some people get a pass? Because if it's the latter, then nothing matters anymore. All of the cynics would have been proven right, that America is no longer as advertised, but instead Tucker Carlson's backyard, where rich people's justice is valued more than the principles we pretend to revere. Cohen's testimony is backed by records, as was Stormy Daniels. And yes, these two are not nuns from our holy sister of witnesses. There are no virgins here. But there is the truth, and that used to mean something.
Who's with me?
Time to pack it up.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore. Am I wrong?
Tick-tock, mother...
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
Follow, like, and please subscribe to Really American, where we keep you up to date on the latest Republican cult lie in this very important year. Hey, and make sure you join us as a member on Patreon, where we can connect directly with you and enable us to expand, make more videos, and hire more hosts. Can't do it without you. For Really American,
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.